How ChatGPT is changing the way we talk. AI language influence revealed. How AI is changing biomedical research. 13% of 2024 abstracts show AI influence. AI in science. Study finds 13.5% of papers used AI in 2024. How ChatGPT is changing the way we talk. AI language influence revealed. You're not alone if you've noticed a shift in how people speak. A recent study from the Max Planck Institute for Human Development reveals that the widespread use of large language model AIs, like ChatGPT, is influencing our spoken language. But here's where it gets intriguing. The report, https://r14.org/pdf/2409.01754, suggests that certain words favored by these AIs are increasingly being used in everyday conversation. Words like delve, adept, meticulous, realm, intricate, and underscore are becoming more common. Remember the days of AOL Instant Messenger? Keyboard lingo like LOL, LMAO, and BRB became the norm, but we rarely spoke them aloud. Now, it seems AI is changing that dynamic. The study found that the more people interact with AIs, the more they adopt the AI's linguistic preferences. Is ChatGPT to blame? Not entirely, argues Eric Halschwartz from TechRadar. https://www.techradar.com. Computing artificial intelligence. Are you worried about it's about to get worse as study shows people now speak like ChatGPT. Other tech-driven platforms, like Twitter, have also influenced our language. Remember when people started saying hashtag before a phrase? It was often done with a self-aware, tongue-in-cheek humor. The report is only 9 pages. https://r14.org/pdf/2409.01754, packed with academic jargon, but it contains some fascinating insights. So, what do you think? Is this linguistic shift a natural evolution, or a concerning trend? Share your thoughts in the comments below. How AI is changing biomedical research. 13% of 2024 abstracts show AI influence. Brace yourself. Over 1 in 8 biomedical research summaries published in 2024 may have relied on artificial intelligence, changing not just what we say, but how we say it. That's right. A new study estimates that at least 13% of scientific abstracts this year bear the stylistic fingerprints of AI. But here's where it gets controversial. Is AI simply helping scientists communicate better? Or is it quietly reshaping the language of science itself? Researchers at the University of Tübingen in Germany took a deep dive into this question, examining over 15 million biomedical papers published between 2010 and 2024. They discovered a noticeable jump in the use of certain stylistic words, phrases like delves, showcasing, underscores, potential findings, and critical, all favored by large language models, LLMs. These aren't your standard scientific terms, instead, they are stylistic flourishes that subtly influence how research is presented. AI-powered language models, such as GPT-4 and its peers, are designed to process enormous amounts of text and generate responses in fluent, human-like language. As these models become increasingly popular tools for drafting and editing manuscripts, their influence is being felt in unexpected ways. The Tübingen team found that the change wasn't in what was being discussed, the content, but in how the information was expressed, the adjectives and verbs used, which often reflect the distinctive style of AI-generated writing. To estimate the impact of AI, the researchers adapted a technique often used in public health, known as the excess deaths approach. Traditionally, this method compares death rates during extraordinary events like pandemics to normal rates. In this case, however, they compared the frequency of specific words before and after the widespread adoption of AI tools, a process they called the excess word framework. What they found was remarkable. The influence of AI models on scientific writing outpaced even major world events like the COVID-19 pandemic. The uptick in style-associated vocabulary was so strong that, according to their analysis, at least 13.5% of all 2024 abstracts had likely been shaped by AI. And this is the part most people miss. In some specialized fields and countries, the number shot up to 40%. For example, in computational branches of biomedical science, roughly 1 in 5 abstracts was found to include AI-assisted language. The researchers suggest this could be because computer science professionals are often early adopters of new technologies. Meanwhile, for authors in non-English speaking countries, AI tools can be a valuable resource for polishing English language manuscripts, potentially explaining their widespread use in those regions. But it's not all cut and dried. The researchers themselves caution that differences in publication timelines, especially since fields like computational biology often publish more rapidly, could skew these early results. More time and broader analysis will be needed to see the full scope and consequence of AI's stylistic influence. Here's a question to ponder. Is this silent shift in academic language a step toward clearer, more accessible science? Or does it risk homogenizing the unique voices and critical thinking of researchers? Should journals and institutions set clear guidelines for AI-assisted writing? Or is this the natural evolution of scientific communication? Let's hear your thoughts below. Do you welcome AI's helping hand in writing? Or are you concerned about losing the human touch in science? Join the debate. AI in science. Study finds 13.5% of papers used AI in 2024. AI's silent invasion. Researchers uncover artificial intelligence traces in countless academic publications. Have you ever read an online article that seemed oddly perfect, perhaps too polished to be entirely human-crafted? You're not imagining things. The digital landscape is increasingly populated with content that has been touched by artificial intelligence, and most of us can't tell the difference. As large language models, LLMs, like ChatGPT, and Google Gemini continue to evolve with remarkable sophistication, the line between authentic human writing and AI-assisted, or AI-generated text has become dangerously blurred. This growing ambiguity has triggered alarm bells throughout academia, with many scholars worried that AI-generated content is silently infiltrating peer-reviewed journals, potentially compromising research integrity. But just how widespread is this phenomenon? The answer might shock you. In a groundbreaking investigation, researchers from the United States and Germany examined over 15 million biomedical abstracts published on PubMed to determine whether LLMs have left detectable linguistic fingerprints in scholarly publications. Their findings reveal a disturbing trend. Since LLMs became publicly available, there has been a measurable shift in the stylistic elements of academic writing. The data suggests an astonishing reality. At least 13.5% of papers published in 2024 show evidence of LLM involvement. These revelations were recently published in the open-access journal Science Advances. The academic landscape has transformed dramatically since ChatGPT's debut less than 3 years ago. The proliferation of AI-generated content across the internet has skyrocketed, raising serious questions about research accuracy and scholarly integrity. But here's where it gets interesting. Previous attempts to quantify LLM usage in academic writing faced significant methodological challenges. Earlier studies relied on comparing sets of known human-written and LLM-generated texts, which the authors of the current study note, can introduce biases, as it requires assumptions on which models scientists use for their LLM-assisted writing, and how exactly they prompt them. To overcome these limitations, the research team developed a more sophisticated approach. Drawing inspiration from COVID-19 public health research that measured excess deaths before and after the pandemic, these investigators examined changes in word usage patterns before and after ChatGPT's release. This innovative methodology revealed something fascinating. Following the emergence of LLMs, academic writing began to exhibit a pronounced shift away from content-focused vocabulary toward more stylistic and flowery language choices. Words like showcasing, pivotal, and grappling suddenly became much more prevalent in scholarly literature. The transformation was even more evident when analyzing parts of speech. Prior to 2024, 79.2% of excess word choices in academic writing were nouns, reflecting the traditional, information-dense nature of scientific communication. By 2024, however, a dramatic shift had occurred. 66% of excess word choices were verbs and 14% were adjectives, signaling a fundamental change in academic writing style that coincides perfectly with the rise of LLMs. Perhaps most intriguing is that the researchers discovered significant variations in LLM adoption across different scientific disciplines, countries, and publication venues, suggesting that some areas of academia have embraced AI assistance more enthusiastically than others. This article was written by human author Charles Blue and edited by Andrew Zinin, a product of genuine human effort and expertise. Independent science journalism like this depends on reader support. If you value this reporting, please consider making a donation, especially a monthly contribution, which will provide you with an ad-free experience. For those interested in exploring the research further, the complete study by Dmitry Kobak and colleagues, titled Delving into LLM-Assisted Writing in Biomedical Publications Through Excess Vocabulary, is available in Science Advances, DOI 10.1126 for SciAdv. @3813. What do you think about AI's growing influence in academic publishing? Is this technological assistance enhancing research, communication, or undermining scholarly authenticity? The debate is just beginning, and your perspective matters. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Copyright symbol 2025 Science X Network. Citation: AI's Silent Invasion. Researchers uncover artificial intelligence traces in countless academic publications. 2025, July 6, retrieved 6 July 2025 from https://news/2025-07-massive-ai-fingerprints-millions-scientific.html. This document is subject to copyright. Apart from any fair dealing for the purpose of private study or research, no part may be reproduced without the written permission. The content is provided for information purposes only.